Hey, how are you? How's everybody doing? How was your day? I'm sorry, I can't exactly see who's in here just yet because I'm doing something off screen at the moment. Hey, Win. Hey, Grandma's babies. Hey, Ashley. How's everybody? You probably hear my cat purring like crazy. Hello, hello. Yes, it is time for bedtime stories, babies. It is time. The time has come. Let's see. Did you guys see my post today? Um, yeah. Did you see it? Hi, betches. Thank you for the likes. So yeah, I posted a video of me talking again. Even though I had gone on like an hour rant earlier in the week. It was, like, even before that we learned of the unfortunate loss of our Danky Doo, and, shit's just crazy, and I made another one, I made a video that's not an hour long. Um, I hope you will all watch it, I hope that you will all share it. Not because I wanna go viral or anything, I am not monetized. When I am gifted, I often just recycle it, or there have been a couple of times where I pulled it out and donated it. Like if I knew like the shelter was in need of stuff, like the animal shelter, I'll cash it out and I'll donate it and put my money into it also. Just because it feels good to know that it went to something good. I usually tell people when I do that too. So just so that they know, it's their coins that they're sharing. So thank you for the Rosa, Miss Ashley. Um, so yeah, I'm excited. I know, mine does too. And the great thing about ours, Wims, well, I gotta be careful what I say, but I'm friendly with the president of the association. And they will always put when they're in need of something on social media, like paper towels or disinfectant cleaner or, blankets or old towels, old sheets and stuff, or, puppy pads, or, there's a local person in need of dog food or whatever. And I always jump to it because let me tell you something. Their help, and when they do ask for help to that particular organization, I am fucking all over that. They are good people. They're really, really good people. Super good people. I'm so happy. Hey, Trailblazer. I'm so happy to help them. Hey, Joyful. I'm so happy to hey, Lorme. I'm so happy to help them anytime they need anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm all over that. And it's fun to do. Hey, Llama Del Rey. That is a fabulous name. Llama Del Rey. That's so cute. Oh, you have a new account. Okay. Well, we'll give it a shot. Hi, peaceful sparkle farts. Lana Del Rey, I really like your screen name. I don't know you. You might be rogue, and that's okay. We are reading a book called Conifer. It's a great book. It's been so good so far. Hey, Hunter. It's been so good so far. It's been really, really good. Like, I'm so down. I'm so excited that we're reading some more. Listen, last night I got a little antsy late at night when I couldn't sleep. And let me tell you something, I almost read ahead, but I want to do it with you guys, so I didn't. I'm just reading a text message that What the fuck is that? Oh, okay. It's like being married watching shows together. You better wait for me. Hi, Liam. So nice to see you in here also. Yes, please, if you have it available, don't forget your heart mate. If you don't, that's totally okay. I appreciate you just being here. You guys are the fucking best. All right, we got Miss Cece, Miss Laura May. Hello, my ladies. How are you?
Hello, hello. I had to
Good. How are you? How are you?
I had to fix me
I'm
some
good. I'm so
had,
grateful that it's Friday.
had to
Me too.
fix me some popcorn. Get ready for this book.
Uh-huh, girl. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I was saying, I don't know if you were in here yet. I got a little antsy last night when I couldn't sleep and I thought about reading ahead a little bit. Oh, Liam, you can go to bed. It's okay. I appreciate you coming and saying hello.
Hey,
You don't
Liam.
have to hang.
Love you,
Oh,
baby
you poor
boy.
soul. Listen, if you're drifting in and out, that means that your body's ready for sleep.
Yes, you need
Just
to
go to
sleep if
sleep.
you need to sleep, Liam.
Go to sleep. Yeah, go to sleep. I know you're an insomniac, so sleep when you can, you know? I'm so excited for you, Liam. I'm so excited to be reading these books. I pray that you will continue writing. And I'm gonna just I don't know what our next book is gonna be. I have to figure it out. I'll probably ask for your recommendation at the end. So maybe you could give that some thought and let me know what you think the next book that I read should be.
Sam, can I say something real quick?
Yes, you of course you can.
Okay. Guys, I've had a really rough week. My ex told me I was going to end it alive and it was okay. So if I bounce off the panel, I'll be down in the chat because I'm having to check texts and stuff. Um, I love you guys. Y'all are my support. Y'all are my circle. I don't know what he meant by that, but I've been going through a lot lately, and so this weekend I'm totally unplugging from TikTok, other than checking the chat with the ones that are super important to me. I will not be on panels. I will not be in other people's chats. It will just be my circle and the ones that I love the most, and not avoiding anybody.
Okay, better. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you at all for a minute. I don't know if you could hear me or not, but
It's
it
okay.
took a minute to connect to.
It's okay.
I had to switch pods. I'm sorry.
My ex texted me, I'm going to unalive. Don't know what he meant by it, but I'm going to unalive. Now, this was his words. You're going to unalive, and it's okay. I'll take care of the dogs.
He
Not our
he's
child.
threatening? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what he's meaning by it. Not our child,
About himself or someone else?
me. I am
Honey,
going to unalive. He will take care of my dogs, not my child. Our child. But that's okay. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm fine. But I'm unplugging from TikTok. I've got some stuff I got to do this weekend. So if you don't see me around, I'm okay. 13 people on this app I will be checking in with. Four, three specifically will know that I'm okay. They have my number. If something kicks off, They know how to get in touch with me, and I know how to get in touch with them.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
I was getting
I
ready to
love you
say.
guys.
If
I
if
love
you
you
need
guys.
if you need something, you give me a call. I got your all your information. So if
Yes,
need
Mm-hmm.
ma'am.
be,
Yes, ma'am. This all took place in the past week. I went to have my stitches took out. The doctor was like, "Are you okay? Something's wrong. You're not yourself." I said, "I'm going through a
Yeah, I
lot."
want you to be really careful what you put out on here also.
I ain't worried about this. TikTok's
I know,
TikTok.
but
They
I'm
going
just
to twist
saying, I don't want you to
everything.
be facing
But
anything with anybody.
I just want y'all to know I'm okay. I'm okay. If you don't see me around,
Mm-hmm.
you don't see me in the chats, you don't see me
I'm
on
gonna
a
be up your
panel,
ass anyway, so don't worry.
I'm okay. The ones that mean the most to me, they know how to get in touch with me, and I will respond to the ones that mean the most to me. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
else, I'll get back to you when I can. I have something I'm working on, and I'm going to focus on that. That's more important. I need a
Mm-hmm.
distraction from everything that's been going on here because I was attacked for holding a panel to respect Dank. I was
Yeah.
attacked, and I did not appreciate that. And one of the people I held high regards for, and she hurt me, even though I didn't know her on a personal level. That hurt because I respected her to the utmost ends. So I
Mm-hmm.
blocked her and another person because of the attack. But just know I am okay. If y'all don't see me around, I am okay. That's all I wanted to say. Back to you, Pam. Read the book.
Can yeah. Okay. Are you on your cell phone, Cece?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw. Okay. I saw it. I'll
Okay.
answer you.
All right, y'all. We can recap on that later. Don't answer my question out loud. Um, yeah, I'll address that privately. We are at chapter 13. We are at the wedding day. Hey, Ashes to Ashley. Anything for Selima's, you're welcome. Who's anything for Selena's? That's so funny. Oh my God, I love that screen name. That's fucking great. I thought you were playing with me when you typed it, and then I realized it was someone's name. Hi, Bailey. Hi, American Honey. Thank you for being here. Okay, y'all. Lorme, Cece. I don't know if Lil Mama's around. Let me see if she's around. Oh, I put it in the group, but I don't know. All right. Here we go, y'all. Are you ready? Hi, Darlene. Anybody who comes in beyond, you guys know I'm not looking at the screen because I'm reading. So I appreciate everyone and thank you for being here. Thank you to my ladies for being on the panel. Thank you for Liam Bossone for being here and checking in with us. That was very, very sweet. I hope that you will get some sleep, but I know you want to listen to, so do what you must, sir. All right, here we go. Everybody ready? Chapter 13. Can you guys hear me well? First of all, I haven't done like a little sound check. Can you guys hear me really good? Okay.
yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
good. Chapter 13. Phoebe hadn't meant to drink her entire miniature bottle of Prosecco in 3 minutes. Oh, girl after my own heart. But the moment she stepped into the buzzing entrance hall of Conifer Hall, her nerves began crawling under her skin. Guests milled around, admiring the floral arches and lanterns. Tom was shaking hands with people he barely liked. Noah hovered near a plate of canapes he looked terrified to touch. And Aria was already in conversation with the wedding coordinator about the appropriate scent level for the main room. Carmine was glued to her phone, pretending not to be impressed by the venue, while Jacob loudly monologued to two bored-looking relatives. Naomi drifted beside him, with the put-on smile of a woman already regretting her life choices. Jen, of course, was not there. She was tucked upstairs in a bridal suite, being pinned and powdered and praised like an anxious queen preparing to be paraded in front of the village. Phoebe could picture her pacing in her slip, frowning at her own reflection, hairdresser fussing around her. It meant the room downstairs had no referee, no buffer, no one to absorb conflict or kill gossip before it grew legs, which was exactly why things went wrong the moment Adrian appeared in the doorway. Phoebe saw him out of the corner of her eye first, shuffling in quietly behind a group of arriving guests, as if hoping to blend into the shadows. He looked almost childlike, hands clasped in front of him, hair gelled badly, blazer a little too snug across the stomach. His face brightened when he spotted her across the room, but Phoebe felt her breath hitch because she already sensed the storm gathering before he even took 2 steps inside. The security guard at the entrance stiffened. Sir, he called out, stepping toward Adrian. Sir, can I see your credentials? Adrian swallowed. I've already explained. I'm the bride's uncle. Guests only, the guard replied firmly. Your name. Not Phoebe Putley. Sorry, is it better? Okay, better now. Okay, I'm sorry. Ma'am, stand aside. He's family. Ma'am, step aside. Adrian looked between the two of them, panic rising fast in his eyes. Please, I just want to see the ceremony. I'm not causing any trouble. I haven't done anything wrong. Jacob laughed under his breath. This is embarrassing. Noah looked mortified. Maria's hand flew to her chest like she was watching a car crash but wasn't about to step into traffic. Naomi blinked between Phoebe and Adrian, confusion tightening her expression. The guard reached for Adrian's arm. Adrian recoiled like the touch burned. Don't, please, don't grab me. Sir, we need you to leave the premises immediately. Please, just listen, Adrian begged, voice cracking painfully. I don't have anywhere to go. I asked for help. I tried the main office. They wouldn't give me a bed. His breath broke unevenly. I'm sleeping in the car. I didn't want to ruin anything. I just wanted to see my family. A few people gasped. Someone whispered, sleeping in his car? Another murmured, didn't know Jen had an uncle. Another replied, well, apparently they don't want him. Adrian's voice rose in a tremor. I don't even have a home tonight. I begged them. I begged. They said no. I don't know what I've done wrong. Wow, this is going to make me cry. My cat just clawed me. Bitch, I will launch you. You better cool it. Yo, she just tore me up, you guys, for no reason. Phoebe felt something hot crawl under her skin. Anger or shame or grief, she couldn't tell. The guard tugged his arm again. Outside, now. No, wait, Adrian cried, a ragged yell that made multiple heads turn. I've lost everything. Bernard's gone. I've got no one left but her. He pointed toward Phoebe. She's the only one who's spoken to me like a person in years. And now you're throwing me out like rubbish. Naomi stepped back, startled. Arya looked at the floor. Noah rubbed his forehead as if this were too much for a man nearing retirement. Jacob muttered something about nutters that made Phoebe want to throw a chair. Before before she could intercept again, a wheelchair rolled sharply across the marble floor. Anne. She came gliding through the crowd like a tiny general breaking enemy lines, Max walking behind her with both hands calmly in his pockets. Excuse me, Anne barked at the guard. Her frail lady voice from earlier was gone, completely gone, replaced by sharp, irritated authority. You do not handle family like that. The guard blinked, thrown off. Ma'am, you heard me, she snapped. This man is grieving, lonely, invited, and you're treating him like he's gatecrashed a political summit. Adrian sniffed loudly. Thank you, Anne. She held up a hand. Don't thank me. I'm furious. Tom walked into the lobby from the ceremony room at that exact moment, frowning. What's going on? The guard gestured toward Adrian. This man is trespassing. He was invited, Anne shot back. And if he goes, so a neighbor, Anne said with regal dismissal. What? Did you say something?
Yeah, it froze up again, but you're fine now. I don't know what happened.
Did oh no, I don't know. Did you guys miss something? Do you remember what you heard me last say?
No, you're fine. I think it was just a couple words. It's fine. I don't know why it keeps glitching up, but you're fine now.
I don't I don't know either. I hope we're not being messed with. Tap the screen, please, if you guys don't mind. I know there's only a few of us in here, but if you could tap the screen, I would really appreciate it. It helps protect Alive. Thank you. I'm going to reread this part again. The guard gestured toward Adrian. This man is trespassing. He was invited, Anne shot back. And if he goes, so do I. Tom blinked. Who are you? A neighbor, Anne said with regal dismissal. And a witness to this disgrace. She spun her chair around dramatically. Max, we're leaving. Bring my coat. I'm not attending a wedding that throws grieving relatives onto the pavement. Max nodded respectfully. Of course, Mum. She reeled toward the exit with surprising speed. Adrian, shaking and wiping his face with his sleeve, followed her automatically. And then Phoebe, fed up, drunk, emotional to the point of combustion, marched after them. Naomi called out, Phoebe, where are you going? Phoebe didn't answer because she wasn't sure what the answer was. She only knew she couldn't stay in that room 1 second longer. The doors hissed shut behind them, sealing off the murmurs and gasps inside. Outside, the air was cold and sharp. Adrian was hunched over with his hands on his knees, breathing unevenly. Anne sat upright in her chair, arms folded, glaring at the building like she could set it on fire through will alone. Max stood a little apart from them, scanning the side of the building with an expression that wasn't confusion or concern, but purpose. How are you feeling? Phoebe whispered to Adrian. He didn't look up. Embarrassing, he muttered. Childish, stupid. You weren't any of those things. He sniffed again. I just wanted to see the wedding. I didn't think it would be like this. Phoebe's throat tightened. Anne cleared her throat delicately. Don't be dramatic, Adrian. You'll still see the wedding. Phoebe blinked. What? Anne looked at her and winked, a sharp, cheeky little wink that did not belong in the face of an old, frail woman. Any moment now, she said calmly. The alarms will go off. Phoebe frowned. What do you? And then the building erupted with noise. Shrill, piercing alarms blasted from every corner of Conifer Hall. Lights strobed red against the ivy covered exterior. Guests shrieked inside. Doors rattled as staff scrambled. Phoebe's eyes snapped to Anne. Anne just smiled pleasantly. There we are. Max slipped around the side of the building with fluid confidence, disappearing into a service corridor Phoebe hadn't even noticed. 30 seconds later, a fire door swung open a crack. Max's voice whispered out, In, now. Anne rolled forward without hesitation. Adrian scrambled after her. Phoebe hesitated only half a second before ducking inside, too, heart hammering. The door clicked shut behind them. Silence swallowed them whole. And Phoebe silently realized two things. Anne and Max were not who they said they were, not remotely. Whatever was happening inside Conifer Hall, she was now part of it. Ooh, I like Anne. Chapter 14. Phoebe wasn't prepared for the cold silence of the service corridor. The moment the fire door clicked shut behind them, the alarms outside muffled into a distant throb, like a heartbeat deep inside the walls. The corridor was narrow, concrete floored, lit by long strips of humming fluorescent light that made every color look bruised. Adrian stood beside her, still shaking slightly, wiping the remnants of tears from under his eyes. Anne rolled forward with steady, practiced confidence, her wheelchair wheels whispering against the floor as Max shut the fire door behind them with a soft, deliberate click. Phoebe could tell instantly that Max knew this place. His posture changed. His steps became measured, almost predatory, as if he were walking through a familiar blueprint in his head rather than a real building. Where are we? Adrian whispered, voice small. The belly of the beast, Anne replied, lightly, as though discussing a museum tour. Staff access, storage, utilities, security rooms, that kind of thing. Conifer Hall is much bigger than it lets on. Phoebe's skin pricked. She'd seen the outside of the hall, a massive stone and glass building, but somehow this hallway felt older, deeper, like the skeleton of something the public was never meant to see. She glanced at the peeling paint on the lower walls and the old signage pointing toward maintenance only, and a quiet unease settled across her shoulders. Max led them down the corridor without waiting for permission. He didn't look back, didn't ask if they were following. Phoebe found herself following out of instinct, her heels clicking softly, echoing with each step. Adrian stumbled a little behind her, trying to keep up. Anne's chair continued at a perfectly steady pace, hands resting lightly on the wheels but barely needing to push. Phoebe caught up to Anne. What exactly are you two doing? Making amends, Anne said sharply, and finishing something that's long overdue. Phoebe frowned. You said you were invited to the wedding. We were, Anne answered. By the Hall, not by your family. The Hall and I have history. That didn't answer anything. Phoebe felt like she was being dragged forward by a story that was running ahead of her. What does that mean? You'll understand soon. Ahead of them, Max stopped abruptly at a door labeled Security, authorized staff only. He produced a key card from his jacket pocket, with a practiced motion that felt too smooth, too confident for someone who supposedly lived in a cheap flat above a shop. He touched the card to the panel. A soft beep, a green flash, and the door unlocked. Phoebe's heart stumbled. How do you have that? Max didn't answer. He pushed the door open and gestured for them to enter. Inside was a small, cramped room filled with screens showing every angle of Conifer Hall: the aisles, the reception entrance, the outer gardens, the car park, even the private dressing suites. Two chairs sat empty in front of the monitors. A radio crackled with urgent staff chatter about the alarms, guests being evacuated, and confusion about whether the malfunction originated from the smoke sensors or the electrical grid. Anne wheeled herself straight up to the desk as if she'd been here 1,000 times. She reached out and turned off the radio with a single press of her finger. Better, she said calmly. Now we can focus. Adrian looked pale. What is this? What's going on? Are you two, are you police? Criminals? What are you doing with security cards? Max sat down in one of the chairs, elbows resting on his knees, eyes scanning on the monitors with an expression of grim concentration. Neither police nor criminals, he muttered, but close enough to both that it doesn't matter. Phoebe felt her chest tighten. If you're planning something violent, oh, don't flatter yourselves, Anne said, letting out a small laugh that was utterly devoid of frailty. We're not here because of you or your sister's wedding. We're here because Conifer Hall has rotted from the inside out. Max tapped a few keys on a keyboard. One screen zoomed into a corridor Phoebe didn't recognize. Another showed what looked like rows of industrial refrigerators stacked with crates beneath them. What is that? Phoebe whispered. The part no one sees, Anne murmured. The part nobody is meant to see. On another monitor, a staff member hurried through a side entrance carrying something that looked very much like a sheet-covered crate. Max zoomed in. Under the corner of the cloth, Phoebe glimpsed a bright orange warning label, the kind used for chemicals or narcotics transport. Her stomach twisted. You said you were just neighbors, she said quietly. We said what was convenient, Anne replied. But that doesn't mean we lied about everything. We were invited because Conifer Hall owes us, or fears us, depending on who you ask. Adrian rubbed his arms nervously. Depending on how this ends. Phoebe exhaled. I just wanted him to have somewhere to sleep. Anne nodded sympathetically. And he will. But first, you're going to see why this hall is so desperate to keep certain doors closed. Max stood abruptly. Let's move. Move where? Phoebe asked, dread pooling in her stomach. To the place they pretend doesn't exist, Max said, opening another service door. the part of the hall built before Conifer was even on the map. He looked back at her, expression suddenly softening just slightly. You're not trapped, he said. If you want to leave, go now. Phoebe looked at the fire door. The alarms had stopped. Guests were probably being directed outside. Jen was upstairs in her dress, clueless. Tom was likely shouting at staff, trying to control the chaos. Her whole family was probably panicking, looking for her, blaming her. Going back meant facing all of that. Going forward meant stepping into something she didn't understand. But when she glanced at Adrian, who was trembling but trying to look brave, something inside her solidified. She wasn't leaving him again. I'm coming, she said quietly. Max nodded once. Anne smiled proudly. And together, the four of them slipped deeper into the hidden halls of Conifer. Chapter 15. The corridor narrowed into a sloping passage, colder and somehow older than the rest of the building. The kind of place built long before health and safety existed, before Conifer Hall turned itself into a luxury venue. Ahead, Max scanned a keypad built into a set of industrial metal doors, the lights above it flickering. Anne rolled up beside him, hands tightening on her wheels as if bracing herself. She seemed different here, more alert, sharper, as though this lower level made her shed the last remnants of her friendly old lady act. All right, Max said quietly, turning to Phoebe and Adrian. From here, you won't need us. Phoebe frowned. What do you mean? You're not coming with us? We've got our own entrance to reach, Anne replied. Different destination. But you two, if you follow this passage until the end, you'll come up close to the main kitchen. Staff will be too busy resetting after the alarm to notice you. Phoebe felt her throat tighten. So what are you actually doing? Anne didn't answer. She simply tilted her head, eyes softening. Cleaning up old messes. Adrian stepped forward as Max unlocked the panel. Who sent me the email invite? He asked suddenly, voice steady in a way that made Phoebe look at him. It wasn't Jen. It wasn't my sister. They'd never. So who was it? Max hesitated, but Anne didn't. She looked right at Adrian, all traces of her previous persona stripped away, revealing something oddly calm beneath. I did, she said. Adrian blinked. You what? Why? Because you were meant to be here, she said simply. People like you get forgotten, lost, and cast aside. But you deserve to see what your family really is. You deserved the truth. The truth about what? He whispered. About who's lying, she murmured, and who isn't. Before he could press further, the metal door slid open with a heavy mechanical groan, and a blast of cold air rushed out. Max placed a hand on Phoebe's shoulder briefly, oddly gentle, as though in warning rather than comfort. Go now, before the alarms clear fully. And with that, Max and Anne stepped through another side door, one Phoebe couldn't see until it was sealed behind them with a hiss. A second later, the panel lights went red, the door locked, they were gone. Adrian stared at the metal. I don't understand, he whispered, voice small. I only wanted to watch Jen get married. Phoebe swallowed. And we will, she said, though her stomach was twisting with unease. Come on. They walked down the passage together, the hum of machinery echoing like distant thunder, and the smell of sugar growing stronger with every step. Eventually, a heavy insulated door led up a set of steps, and Phoebe pushed it open, emerging into the back end of the main kitchen. The room was chaos. Chefs rushing to return dishes where they belonged to, trays of hors d'oeuvres being straightened, waitstaff panicking about timings. No one even looked at Phoebe or Adrian. They blended in like forgotten props. A row of small wedding cakes, petite little things, stacked on trays, sat temporarily abandoned on a stainless steel counter. Phoebe eyed them. We shouldn't, Adrian whispered. We should, Phoebe corrected, taking one and biting into it before she even checked the flavor. Lemon. Adrian grabbed one too, icing smearing across his thumb. God, that's good. They ate two more each, standing half hidden between fridge units like raccoons who had broken into a patisserie. Phoebe reached for a flute of champagne someone had left on a prep table, downed half of it, and then handed the rest to Adrian. He swallowed it without hesitation, cheeks flushed. Jen really knows how to put money into a wedding, Phoebe muttered, wiping crumbs from her lips. Adrian didn't reply. He stared toward the narrow viewing hatch between the kitchen and the ceremony hall, a small window built for servers. to check the timing of each course. From this angle, they could both see the wedding arch, the rows of chairs, the aisle lined with white petals. Guests were filtering back in, confused but trying to act normal now that staff assured them everything was fine. Strings started playing again, soft, syrupy notes warming the hall. Phoebe, no- Phoebe moved to the window and pressed her forehead lightly against the cool frame. Adrian stood beside her. Through the glass, they saw Noah adjusting his tie, Arya fussing with Carmine's hair, Tom whispering something to a coordinator with a tight jaw. And then, from the far end of the hall, Jen appeared at the top of the aisle, dressed in pale ivory and too many pearls, her posture flawless, her step steady. Phoebe's breath left her chest. She watched her sister through that tiny rectangle of glass, invisible to the entire room. Jen looked radiant, yes, but also nervous. Too nervous. Her hand clung to the bouquet like she was holding onto an anchor in rough water. Adrian sniffed quietly beside her. She looks like Harriet, he murmured. Phoebe nodded slowly. She does. Jen began her walk, the hall erupting into soft gasps and smiles. Phoebe watched every second of it, feeling heavy and light at once, rage and love mixing in her chest until she couldn't tell which was which anymore. She glanced sideways. Adrian's eyes were shining. I just wanted to be there, he whispered. Phoebe reached out and squeezed his hand. We're here, she said, even if they don't know it. And so they watched the entire ceremony from that tiny kitchen window. Two ghosts pressed against the glass, seeing everything, while the whole room believed they weren't part of the story at all. And somewhere deep in the hall, behind sealed metal doors, Max and Anne were moving through the forbidden corridors, unlocking secrets Phoebe was not yet ready to understand. Ooh! Chapter 16. Phoebe had meant to keep herself together. She had told herself, quietly and firmly, that she would behave, that she would sit at the back with a drink in her hand and pretend she was part of all of this like she once had been. But the longer she and Adrian lingered behind that tiny kitchen window, watching the guests settle for the reception, the more something dark and heavy twisted inside her chest. Watching Jen glide around the head table like it all came naturally, the smiles, the guests thanking her, the perfect housewife routine. The perfect housewife routine. It scraped something raw in Phoebe that she'd been trying to ignore for years. The room was full now. Plates clinked. People laughed that bland wedding laughter. Champagne poured in soft, elegant streams. Phoebe felt her fingertips tingle with irritation, a slow burning itch beneath her skin. Adrian stood beside her silently, eyes wide with the same mix of awe and sadness he always carried when he saw family living a life he'd been pushed out of. But for Phoebe, the sadness was long gone. And that left all that was left was bitterness so thick she could taste it. There was Jen, perched at the head of the table with Tom, smiling in that polished hostess way, as if sorry, I just took a drink. As if she'd never stolen anything from anyone, as if she'd never ruined lives quietly, silently under the guise of doing the right thing, as if she hadn't spent years pretending her own sister didn't exist. Phoebe watched Jen tilt her head sweetly toward one of Tom's distant relatives and felt her stomach flip with disgust. Look at her, Phoebe muttered, voice low and rough. She thinks she's some bloody princess. Adrian didn't respond. He didn't need to. She could feel him tensing beside her. She gets the husband, she gets the home, she gets the family, she gets the money, she gets the bloody haul. Phoebe's voice rose without her permission. And what do I get? A bottle, a sofa, a front garden covered in my suitcase banister because I couldn't even afford someone to take it away. She pressed her forehead harder into the window frame, grinding her teeth. Jen laughed at something Tom had whispered. It was a delicate laugh, soft and golden and fake. Phoebe felt the heat rise up in her neck so fast she had to step back from the window like she'd been slapped. Oh my God, she breathed. I could walk out there right now. Adrian looked at her sharply. Phoebe, I could walk out, she repeated, her voice trembling with rage. I could walk straight down that aisle, right to her stupid table. I could tell her I could tell everyone exactly what she did, exactly how she got that house, exactly what she took from me, and how she used me, how she watched me fall apart. I did nothing and did nothing except take advantage. Her hands were shaking. She didn't try to hide it. Jen lifted her champagne glass in a toast with one of Tom's cousins. More laughter, more sweetness. Phoebe felt her throat tighten until she could barely swallow. She doesn't even care I'm not out there. She hasn't asked me once. She hasn't asked once, I'm sorry. She hasn't even looked around to see if I'm here. Phoebe, Adrian murmured softly, don't do anything rash. Phoebe let out a short, humorous laugh. What, embarrass her? Ruin her perfect photo gallery? She leaned back into the window again, staring at Jen so hard her vision blurred. She ruined my whole life. What's one wedding? Adrian hesitated. This is her day. And every day since I was 18 was hers too, Phoebe snapped. She's got everything. I got scraps. And she enjoyed it. The room beyond the window buzzed with a polite hush before speeches. Jacob stumbled toward the microphone, already flushed from wine. People laughed, not with him, but at the idea of him speaking at all. It made Phoebe nauseous. Jen smiled at him pityingly, her head tilted, her sympathy so smug and condescending that Phoebe's fists curled at her sides. I hate her, Phoebe whispered. I hate her so much, sometimes it scares me. Adrian put a shaky hand on her arm. You don't mean that. Phoebe's jaw clenched. Yes, I do. The soft clink of silverware, the rustle of dresses, the hush of anticipation. Jacob clearing his throat dramatically, Jen brushing a loose curl behind her ear. Phoebe felt something give in her chest, a quiet snap. She stepped back from the window, took two breaths she couldn't fully finish, then looked at Adrian with eyes that were bright and wet and furious. I can't watch this, she whispered. I can't sit here like some pathetic mistake while she pretends to be perfect. I swear to God, Adrian, if I walk out there right now. Adrian tightened his hold on her arm. Phoebe, please don't. She met his eyes, breathing hard, and for a moment he even looked afraid of what she might do. I just want her to see me, Phoebe whispered. Just once. Just see me. She looked toward the door to the hall, and then she stepped forward. Oh, you guys. What's gonna happen? That's the end of that chapter.
She gonna wreck shit. That's what
How's
she
everybody
gonna
doing?
do. She gonna wreck it.
Oh, she gonna wreck it, and I'm here for it. Hey, Anne! I'm happy to see you. I'm watching Seeking Persephone on Peacock. It's good if you like those kind of movies. Oh, is it good? I want to watch it. Like Persephone the goddess or something else? That's cool. Oh, Liam said, here we go. Pretty Little Flo. That's a cute name. I just saw something that said Heidi joined. Heidi, if you're in here and you're the Heidi I think you are, you better get the fuck out. Because I went looking for your profile to block you and I couldn't find it. So I know you're creeping. Get out of my live. You must be out of your rabbit ass fucking mind coming in my live. Okay, moving on. Chapter 17. Phoebe pushed open the kitchen door before Adrian could grab her wrist again, slipping into the narrow corridor that led directly into the reception hall. The hum of chatter washed over her in a warm wave of perfume and champagne and artificial joy. Her pulse thudded so hard she could feel it in her throat, in her palms, and in her ears. She didn't have a plan. She didn't need one. Every step felt like it was being fueled by years of humiliation. I got a restriction. For what? I appealed it. Stupid. I'm sure that's from that broad. Hi, Valkyrie.
What
She
was
didn't have a
what was
plan. She
wait a
didn't
minute, what
need
was the
one.
name? What was the name again in case I see it?
Heidi.
Heidi, okay.
I'm just not sure which Heidi it is, but there's a particular Heidi I want to make sure is not in here. I just happened to see it flash up on the bottom, and it disappeared very quickly too. Hold on 1 second. Her pulse thudded so hard she could feel it in her throat, in her palms, and her ears. She didn't have a plan. She didn't need one. Every step felt it was being fueled by years of humiliation, years of being overlooked, years of watching Jen live a life she wore like a tiara. Adrian followed behind her, whispering her name in panic, but she didn't slow down. She stepped into the hall just as Jacob was finishing a joke that no one laughed at, prompting him to laugh at himself, loudly while clutching the mic like a drunk karaoke host. People clapped out of politeness. Jen covered her mouth with a gentle, ladylike smile. Tom, however, stood off to the side, half behind the head table, his face flushed a dark, alarming shade of red. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't watching Jacob. He was watching the staff corridor, watching the door Phoebe had just walked out of. His eyes snapped to her instantly. For the first time since she'd known him, Tom looked genuinely frightened. Not confused, not irritated, frightened, like he saw something he'd been dreading. Phoebe saw it, and worse, Jen didn't. Everything in her everything in her twisted. Jen didn't even turn. Phoebe felt heat build under her skin like a rising fever. She stepped further into the hall, passing the last row of tables, ignoring how dozens of heads slowly turned toward her. Conversations faltered. A fork clinked against a champagne flute. Someone whispered her name. Someone else whispered, "Is she all right?" But Jen still didn't turn, still smiling, still posing, still playing the perfect bride. Feels bit into her palm. Behind her, she didn't hear him. Her eyes locked on Jen like she was the only person in the world. All the white flowers, the floating candles, the pastel draping, it all melted into a blur behind the hard pounding focus of Phoebe's fury. Tom suddenly pushed past a bridesmaid, stepping toward Phoebe quickly, urgently, his voice low but strained. "Phoebe, don't, please, don't do this now." "Oh, now you care," she hissed, but it came out louder than she meant. Even a few people, enough for a few people to turn their heads. Tom swallowed, rigid, jaw clenched so tightly it tremored. Close up, the redness wasn't just embarrassment, it was stress. Pure, unfiltered stress. He looked like a man whose entire nervous system was vibrating with fear. "Please," he begged under his breath, "just go back, please, not here." Phoebe laughed, hollow, humorless, all teeth. "Why? Afraid I'll ruin the photos?" Tom stepped closer but didn't dare touch her. His eyes darted toward the kitchen, toward the doors Ann and Max had slipped through, toward everything happening beneath the surface of this wedding. And suddenly something clicked in Phoebe's gut. Tom wasn't afraid of her. Tom was definitely afraid of something else, something happening right now. But her anger didn't care. She pushed past him. She walked straight toward the head table. The room quieted with each step she took. Even Jacob paused mid sentence, holding the mic in the air like an idiot caught between jokes. The music softened. Guests whispered. Aria slowly stood up from her chair with a trembling, helpless expression, lips parted in silent pleading, and Jen finally turned. The moment her eyes met Phoebe's, her face dropped out of its smile like a mask falling off. Her lips parted, her breath hitched. Her head tilted a fraction to the side as if she couldn't make sense of the sight. Phoebe stopped only a few feet from the table, close enough to see the perfect lace detail of Jen's dress, close enough to smell the expensive perfume, close enough to see the exact second Jen realized why Phoebe was here. Because Phoebe had never looked at her like this before, like a reckoning. "Phoebe," Jen whispered, voice sharp but quiet, meant only for her. "What are you doing?" Phoebe felt everything she'd swallowed for years slam into her throat all at once. "Finally noticed me, did you?" Jen's eyes widened in warning. "Not now." "Oh, now is not the time?" Phoebe stepped closer. "Tell me, Jen, when was?" Tom grabbed Jen's shoulder, nothing comforting about it, more like he was bracing her. His face was the color of overripe plums, sweat gathering at his brow. He leaned toward her ear, whispered something Phoebe couldn't hear. Jen's face tightened. The guests were silent now, completely silent. Adrian stood frozen behind Phoebe, looking small and desperate, like a child watching a car crash in slow motion. Jen swallowed. Phoebe, please, not here. Phoebe laughed again, louder this time. Yeah, God forbid we ruin your perfect day. Jen's eyes flickered, hurt, flashing, for the first time. But Phoebe didn't let herself stop. This whole thing, she gestured around at the flowers, the lanterns, the gold ribbons, is built on lies. On you stepping over everyone to get what you want, including me. Jen's voice wavered. Phoebe, don't say my name like you haven't ignored it for 5 bloody years. A few people gasped. Jacob whispered shit under his breath. Arya covered her mouth, shaking. Tom looked ready to be sick, and for one suspended moment, Phoebe didn't feel ashamed or messy or small. She felt powerful. Then Jen spoke softly, too softly. You don't know everything. Phoebe's head jerked back. Oh, I know enough. No, Jen said, staring at her with a look Phoebe had never seen on her. Not anger, not guilt, something like fear. You really don't. Tom flinched visibly, eyes darting again toward the back of the hall. His hands trembled. Phoebe only registered his fear dimly, because she was already stepping closer, breath sharp, arms tense, ready to spill everything she had ever swallowed. When the lights flickered, the music cut out, someone screamed, and the ground beneath them shuddered with a low, sickening tremor. The hall exhaled something cold. Jen's champagne glass rattled across the table, and suddenly every single person in Conifer Hall realized something was very, very wrong. Y'all? Woohoo! You ready? Hi, Allison. Here we go. Chapter 18. The tremor came like a low warning growl from beneath the hall, subtle enough that at first people thought it was part of the music system malfunctioning again. Glasses rattled, silverware bounced. Then came a second jolt, harder this time, strong enough to make the chandelier sway and the draped floral columns quiver as if a wind passed through them. Someone screamed near the back. Someone else ducked instinctively. The pianist slammed her hands down over the keys in fright, producing a discordant crash that only heightened the panic. Chairs scraped violently as people leapt up, clutching their handbags and children, pushing and pulling toward the exits. Jen grabbed the edge of the table, knuckles white, her face completely drained of bridal glow. Tom steadied her, but his own face was a deep blotchy red, terrified, furious, calculating, all at once, and the way he looked toward the staff corridor sent a cold shiver down Phoebe's spine. Adrian clung to Phoebe like the room was tilting. Phoebe, please, what is happening? Phoebe's heart thudded. We need to get out of the hall. But out wasn't what fate had planned. One of the overhead panels groaned. A long metallic creak echoed through the rafters, followed by a violent crack. People screamed, scattering. Phoebe grabbed Adrian with both hands, pulling him toward the side, but a blur of movement cut across them. Naomi, her face twisted in panic, eyes wide and wild, wine stains still on her lips. She shoved past Phoebe, stumbling on her heels. But when she saw Adrian, something in her expression sharpened. It happened too fast for Phoebe to fully process. Naomi lunged, hands out, not toward safety, not toward a fallen chair, but toward Adrian's back. Naomi? Phoebe choked, confused. Naomi shoved him hard. Adrian staggered, nearly losing his footing, and Phoebe grabbed his coat instinctively, but Naomi's shove had been perfectly timed at the crackling ceiling panel above them. The enormous metal rectangle snapped its final hinge and came hurtling down like a guillotine. Naomi expected Adrian to fall under it. Phoebe saw it in her eyes, stark, terrifying intention, but Adrian didn't fall. He twisted just enough for his foot to slide, and the shove Naomi aimed at his spine glanced off his shoulder instead. His body lurched sideways into Phoebe, and Naomi's momentum carried her forward. The panel slammed down, right onto Naomi. The metal edge struck her with sickening force, knocking her sideways into the floor with a dull crack. A spray of shattered plaster exploded into the air as she collapsed, face down in a pool of splintered petals and glass. Someone screamed. Someone shouted for help. but most people were already running, trampling over fallen programs and spilled Prosecco. Phoebe froze, staring at Naomi's motionless body, the panel pinning the edge of her dress. What, what did she? Adrian, did she just? Phoebe stammered, unable to finish the thought. Her voice cracked. Adrian, she tried to push you. Why would she? Why would Naomi? Adrian was trembling violently, eyes huge and glistening. I didn't, why would she do that? They didn't get a moment to think. The front doors just burst open again, and Gareth Prynne, the administrator, sprinted inside with terror etched into every line of his face. His shirt was torn, his tie hanging loose, his hand shaking so badly he could barely keep his footing. He screamed hoarsely, Lock the doors! Lock them now! They're coming! The sound of gunfire cracked through the car park behind him like firecrackers exploding in a tunnel. Guests shrieked, ducking, running. Some dived under tables, others trampled centerpieces in their blind desperation to reach an exit that suddenly didn't feel like safety anymore. Phoebe's pulse hammered so loudly she could hardly hear. Garrus sprinted across the hall floor, slipping, dropping to one knee, scrambling up again as blood trickled from a cut in his forehead. He bolted toward the back exit, toward the kitchen corridor, toward them. Tom saw him. His expression changed instantly. Everything dropped from his face except pure, blazing terror. No, he shouted, not at Gareth, but at the door. He lunged for it. He grabbed the long brass handle with both hands and slammed it shut with such force that the sound cracked across the hall like a gunshot. Then he twisted the lock, jammed the bolt, and shoved a little table in front of it as people nearby stood in stunned confusion. Don't open it, Tom barked at the server who had instinctively reached to help. Gareth hit the other side of the door with his full weight. Let me in! Let me in! For God's sake, there are gunmen! Let me! Tom backed away from the door like it was a live wire. For a second, Phoebe could swear he looked at Jen, not apologetically, not regretfully, but knowingly. Jen stared back at him, looking small, terrified, and yet complicit in something Phoebe had never been allowed to see. Adrian clung to Phoebe's arm again, shaking uncontrollably. Why is he locking him out, Phoebe? Why is he? Another tremor rolled across the floor, stronger this time, rattling glasses and sending a few last ceiling tiles skittering loose. A handful of guests fainted. A child wailed. The florist arch collapsed on one side. Gareth's fist hammered the door. Please, please open! Phoebe's blood ran cold. Tom wasn't trying to protect the guests from what was outside. Tom was trying to protect something inside from Gareth. She she grabbed the table for balance as the world lurched again. Adrian choked out, Phoebe, something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong. Phoebe stared at Tom, who now stood with his back to the crowd, shoulders squared, eyes shining with desperate, terrified resolve. Jen grabbed his arm. Tom, what are you doing? He didn't look at her. He didn't look at anyone. He looked at the floor, like he knew what was under it. And then Gareth's voice on the other side of the door broke into a scream so raw, so primal that every person in the hall stopped breathing. They're not after us. They're after what's below. A gunshot rang through the door. The noise swallowed the hall. Gareth's scream cut off abruptly. Phoebe's hand flew to her mouth. Adrian sank to the floor, sobbing into his palms. Jen went white as a sheet, clutching Tom's sleeve like she might faint. Tom shut his eyes. The building groaned, and every single person in Conifer Hall realized something beneath the floor was waking up, and the doors were locked. Yeah! Chapter 19. The hall erupted the moment the bolt clanged into place. Rage, confusion, and fear all burst at once like someone had picked a wasp nest. Guests surged toward the locked doors, pounding their fists, shouting over each other, demanding explanations from anyone wearing a tie. Jen shouted Tom's name over the rising noise, but he just stood there, pale and stiff, as though every sound in the room was coming from underwater. Phoebe felt Adrian's trembling hand on her sleeve, gripping it so tightly the fabric pinched her skin, but she didn't pull away. What is he doing? Someone shouted behind them. Why are the doors locked? Open them! Where's security? Where's Gareth? Jen spun on Tom with ears gathering fast. Tom, why did you do that? Why would you lock him out? Tom didn't answer, not with words. He stared at the floor like he wished it would open beneath him. His jaw twitched. Phoebe watched him, really watched him, and felt her stomach sink. He wasn't horrified at what Gareth that Gareth was outside. He was horrified Gareth might get in. A knot tightened in her gut. Something was very, very wrong. A loud bang rattled the door again as guests pushed against it. Someone grabbed a chair and tried using it as a battering ram until two others pulled him away, shouting. Adrian squeezed me and look at me. I don't think it was about him hurting someone. I think she stopped. Even saying the thought out loud felt dangerous. Across the hall, Jen broke down in tears. Tom, you're scaring me. Just tell me what's going on, please. Tom swallowed hard. I can't right now. She grabbed his sleeves. You lock a man outside while people are screaming and you can't tell me why? Tom shook his head violently. Just trust me, Jen. Oh my God, I don't, she whispered. A server tripped over a fallen floral arch, sending champagne flutes clattering to the tiles. The crashing glass only fed the chaos. Someone began sobbing loudly. Someone else pushed past Phoebe, nearly knocking her over. Children were crying. Older guests clutched each other's arms, confused and frightened. Phoebe's pulse throbbed as she looked into the small kitchen window at the side of the hall. From her angle, she could see out toward the car park if she craned enough. Gareth Prynne was out there, running. His shirt flapped behind him, hair matted to his forehead, face streaked with either sweat or blood. He sprinted toward his green hatchback, his safety, his escape, his salvation, and froze. Even from inside the hall, Phoebe saw the moment he realized. The tires sagged into the ground like burst lungs. Both front wheels had collapsed completely, rubber curling under itself in shredded ribbons. The car listed awkwardly to one side. Gareth stared at it in disbelief, wobbling on his feet like someone had punched him. Oh my God, Phoebe whispered. Adrian. Adrian's eyes widened. I didn't know he'd need it. I didn't know, Phoebe. I didn't know. Gareth clawed at the passenger door, ripped it open, hurled himself inside, and tried to start it anyway. The engine gave a pathetic, grinding cough. The chassis shuddered. The slashed tires groaned but didn't move. He hit the steering wheel with his fist once, twice, three times, until his whole body folded over in a panicked tremor. Then he scrambled out again, slipped on the gravel, and sprinted toward the far end of the lot. Phoebe couldn't see what he was running from until bang! Another gunshot echoed from somewhere beyond the hall. People inside screamed. A woman dropped her bouquet and fainted. Someone grabbed the microphone at the front of the hall and shouted, Everyone move to the back wall. Move, move now. Get away from the glass. Tom spun toward the kitchen corridor. Jen, come here. He reached for her, but she backed away as if he were radioactive. Don't touch me, she said through her teeth. Phoebe felt Adrian tugging her sleeve again. Phoebe, Phoebe, this is bigger than them. This is bigger than any of us. He was right. The walls shook again. Outside, Gareth bolted toward the road, then tripped and skidded across the tarmac as two shapes emerged between the parked cars. Phoebe's breath caught in her throat. Two people, one tall, one small, moving with purpose, not panic. Max, and the woman pretending to be his mother, Anne. Except not frail, not sick, not helpless. They moved with ease, gately, smoothly, confidently, and both of them held weapons pointed forward. Oh, God, Phoebe whispered. No, no, no. Adrian clamped his hand over his mouth. Everyone inside the hall gasped as another burst of gunfire crackled through the afternoon air. Gareth stumbled behind a bin, slipping out of sight. Tom grabbed a fold-out table and shoved it against the locked door again, as though that would stop bullets, as though it would stop everything happening from eating its way into the hall. Tom, Jen shouted, just tell me what is going on. I can't, he said, voice cracking. It's not what you think. Oh, I think it's exactly what I think, someone screamed from across the room. Arguments erupted everywhere. You knew something was happening. Who are these people? And is this some gang thing? My children are here. This is your fault. Your fault. Why did you lock that man out? Phoebe watched the chaos swirl like a whirlpool around them, sucking whole groups of guests into arguments and blame spirals. The fear felt alive, like it was spreading from person to person like an infection. Then the loudspeaker system crackled overhead. A distorted voice, maybe security, maybe someone else, sputtered out. All guests remain inside Conifer Hall. Do not, repeat, do not exit. Then static. A deep silence fell. Phoebe swallowed hard, her whole body shaking. The hall was locked. Gunmen were outside. Gareth Prynne was fighting for his life because of slashed tires Adrian had meant as petty revenge. And Jen looked ready to destroy Tom. Everything had gone. Step without even meaning to. Before she could say anything, what's going on? Can you guys hear me still?
Just now, it's been off for a few minutes.
You're kidding me.
No,
I do not know what is going on.
I don't know. I'm guessing, I don't know if you're being recorded or reported. I don't know, but you're you froze up for quite a bit. The last we heard, well, the last I heard is, uh, oh, I don't even remember for real. I
Did you
know,
hear me? Did you hear me start chapter 20?
no.